Welcome to Try This at Home. I'm Cliff Bumgardner.
And I'm still Harrison Stewart.
Our myths this week are escape slide parachute and exploding hair cream. Plus, we have a little bonus myth that we'll get into.
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't seen that really happen before. This episode originally aired on August 10th, 2005. It was produced by Alice Dallow and written by a new name for us, Chris Williams. Haven't seen his name in the credits before, so I looked him up. And he's still around, still writing TV. According to his LinkedIn, he's been a writer for Beyond Productions since 2005, so the year that this came out. That's more than 20 years that he's been working for Beyond. He's also gone on to work on the White Rabbit Project with Carrie, Torrey, and Grant, a lot of other great TV. I'm really curious if this was his start, because it's the first time we've seen his name, and apparently he's been doing it ever since. So I'm very curious to see if we're going to be seeing a lot more Chris as the show goes on.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
Give us a new person to talk to.
I absolutely have to reach out, get another writer's perspective on the show. But that actually is a nice transition to something we haven't talked about here on the show before. And as we dig into our overall thoughts, normally I just kind of skip through the opening of Mythbusters that has like the what's coming up in this episode, because it's a skip button on Max, and I'm going to watch the whole thing anyway, so I don't need the tease.
Yeah.
This week I watched the tease. And genuinely, it got me so excited for this episode, because it's like everything you want in a Mythbusters episode is in the opening tease of this one. And I was so excited to dive into this one.
It's also weird seeing that, especially like afterwards when it's like, who are the Mythbusters? And realizing that I've seen every single clip that they show.
Right.
Like that's kind of nutty. I never thought that I would reach that level.
Oh, we're in it now, man. We are fully mainlining Mythbusters. We are in the thick of it. But yeah, what did you think of this episode overall?
I liked it a lot, except for the tacked on myth. Okay, I have mixed feelings. I don't love any time that they do just like a random final myth, but it was a pretty cool one. Overall, I think this episode really shines because it shows all the mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
And the constant tinkering and like the trying to figure it out on the fly. I think that's when the show really shines. I think that's a big reason why I really enjoy the competition ones when they're like dueling, because I love seeing the hiccups like that makes it even more impressive when they stick the landing.
Yeah, I'm with
How
you
about
on
you? What did you think, Cliff?
I'm with you in that.
You hated it?
I don't normally like the, when there's 5 minutes left and there's a myth, but if you're going to do it, dropping the entire back end of an airplane is a pretty great way to do it. And
it's not a bad way to go out.
I'll tease right now that it sent me down a research hole that I'm actually really excited about, and kind of saved that whole section for me. My thought with this episode overall, I thought this was a really interesting episode, kind of like technically speaking, because it had a little bit of everything in it that you love about Mythbusters. And so from a purely just enjoying the show perspective, I loved it. But it was almost too much, to the point that the show felt so fast. And not in a good way where it's like, wow, this whole hour went by and I wasn't even thinking about it. But in a they would tee something up and then move on and then come back and then move on. And there was and I don't know if this is an HBO Max thing or what the reason is, but there were even some moments where the show just all of a sudden cut in a place that it didn't feel like there would normally be a cut. And it was just like, we're coming. Clearly that was where a commercial was and we're coming back now. But it didn't feel like we were teeing up to. It was very weird. It was like cut to ribbons in a weird way that I don't know if that was done after the fact. And this is like not the version that aired or what. But this was a very weirdly put together episode, even though I really liked everything that was in it.
That fair point. I think I like the myths. I like how they execute and approach them, but when it came together, it felt a bit garbled. Yeah.
I'd be very curious to know. And we actually get a little bit of a tease in this episode to some lost Mythbusters content. So I think
I'm glad you brought that up.
We are getting more into the weeds of some strange things have happened with the show over the years, of things that have been lost or recut or changed. So we might be experiencing that in this episode.
Cliff's nightmare of figuring out which seasons are which only deepens.
I never thought it would be the hardest part of producing this damn show.
No, it's your life. It's your life now, Cliff.
Yep.
Good luck. You did it to yourself. You played yourself, son. You played yourself.
Myth 1, escape slide parachute. Could an airline's emergency life raft be used as a parachute? This one is so much fun. Every time I have searched for images for this season of the show, this one keeps coming up. And so I've been really excited to get here because it just looked big and crazy. And boy, did it deliver on all those fronts.
It is all of those things. It is certainly all of those things. It's another classic like plop moment. We get several plops in this episode, which you know I'm a big fan of.
Yes. Straight
terminal velocity.
That's one of the things
down.
In the opening when you just see Buster falling. I was like, oh, I know we're going to be in for a good time with this. They tee up early on that this is from a movie, but they never say what movie. They say this is a classic movie. They
don't need to.
Myth. And I'll be perfectly honest. You're looking at me like I'm an idiot right now. I could not remember what this is from. I feel really bad about that. And maybe it's because I have been chained to this desk all day prepping for a full day of podcasting, but my brain is fried and I could not remember what it's from.
Yeah, buddy. If you think I'm going to let you off the hook for all of those perfectly reasonable explanations, incorrect.
Is it Indiana Jones?
It's Indiana Jones.
Okay.
But which Indiana Jones?
It's not.
Yes.
Is it Raiders?
It's not Raiders.
It's not Raiders. Okay, that's what was. I did Google this earlier, and even that was giving me some false positives. So, Temple. Okay,
this is from Temple of Doom.
Well, that's the thing. Is later in MythBusters, they would have talked about that. Like they would have been able to fully talk about it, maybe even show footage from it. But at this point of the show, they'll just go, "It's from a movie," and then they move on and never address it again. Don't do any. Later, there's going to be full indie episodes of the show.
There are also like a lot of references, like they call him Indiana Buster at one point. But
so you're saying I'm stupid on top of the fact of being overworked?
No. What I'm saying is that I think that I knew so immediately what it was from that it did not even register to me that they never said the title of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even watching it in the movie, you're like, no. I mean, fine, continue, but
no.
But no way. There was also like some sort of extenuating circumstances. Like I believe they're on a mountain or something like that. It's been a while since I've seen Temple, but I believe that there's something there that makes it be like, I guess, perhaps.
Perhaps it's more plausible.
I have always wanted to try it.
And that is kind of where this goes, too.
Less so now.
It winds up being a bit more plausible than you would probably expect for it to be.
I would say a lot more.
Yeah.
Than I would expect.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this episode. With almost everything in this episode is they just go straight to full scale. There's not really they do a little bit when we get to the exploding hair cream myth, but like for the most part, this one right away they start the episode out like in the airfield being like, we got a helicopter, we're gonna lift this guy, and it goes straight there, which is part of what I think made it feel so fast. There wasn't really like a build throughout the episode. It's just boom, we're here. Okay, wow, we're raising Buster in the thing, and here we go.
Oh, but who doesn't want to be in the middle of the Mojave cutting up airplanes?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like that's they had me the second that they're like, we're going back. I was like, all right, I'll hear you out.
Well, this whole episode was full of those moments of like things that we've seen before but come back, and like to your point earlier about it, now you see the intro and you know every shot. There was stuff in this episode where I was like, oh, I just understand this now because we've been seeing it all in order. It's like, yeah, I've learned this with them as they've gone on in the show.
Well, almost. There is one. We kind of teased it at the top, but there is one in the hair cream myth that it shows flashbacks, and it's like, I have no memory of this.
Yeah, there's the false. We're having some Memento stuff happening in this episode of the
Yes.
show.
Yeah,
we will
yeah,
have
yeah.
to. We will get there. But they do kind of go straight to full scale on this one and just start testing. Initially, they're testing with the life raft, and not an actual escape slide. So it's just
A life giraffe.
a life to rafty, just a giant, one of those giant inflatable life rafts. And what's funny is this is yet again, like we've seen in previous episodes, they apparently spared no thought for how Buster was going to hang on. They just get out there and inflate and go, hey, there's a strap. What luck? Put him right there. It'll be fine.
Put him right in the strap.
It's not fine. Harrison, it's so not fine.
It might be the biggest not fine that they've had in the middle of an experiment.
Yeah.
I mean, like to the point that I actually expected a little more explanation. Like, is this the next day? Like, how are you able to Frankenstein him back together?
We should just say
he
Buster
plopped.
falls out of the life raft before they can even, I think it's even before they get it to height, to 2,000 feet where they're going to drop
It's not
it
even
from.
at like, yeah.
And he hits the ground and like smithereens doesn't even cover it. He is in tiny chunks. So much
He's
so
close to atomized. Like,
it
he
rips
is not
the
even-
silicone that he's made of. It somehow breaks silicone. It's that explosive of a fall that it just blasts him into a million parts. And like when Adam gets over and looks at it, he honestly looks like he just found a dead body. Like he's just, they're all shook.
I couldn't tell if that was a bit, because like he loves to like do the whole like, Buster is a person. Like
Yeah.
there's a few quips even in this one about like, no test dummies left behind. But I also think that it could be totally, because they used it in the opening as well.
Yeah, I think it's
Like,
legit.
His shock of like, oh my god.
I think it
Like,
was
when he's
legit
just-
because he looks
he's
so
he
distraught.
looks- Buster is done.
Well,
He's done.
and think about it, to your point about did they have to come back another day or whatever, that's probably what was going through his head was, uh-oh, this is our main testing
He's
platform.
gonna set us back.
And he's just been blown into a million pieces. This is really bad. But to their credit, with the way that they have made Buster 2.0, they put it back together pretty quick. I mean,
They do. I also love Grant gives a very genuine, I'm so sorry, man. just a in response to Adam's just like mouth agape, Grant's just like, buddy, I'm sorry for your loss. I can't even imagine what this must be like for you. Like it's so
it's very
it's
sweet.
so clean. It's so wholesome.
Grant continues to be just the best of us on this show
To be
every
delightful,
single week.
yeah.
And this is the first episode where it felt like he was fully sort of like brought into everything. It's kind of been,
True.
the show's been catching up with having him on. And it's like we've been seeing him here and there. But in this one, he's just always, it's just, here's Grant now, we're part of the show. And it's like fully baked. It's so great.
It is. And there's even like little things that are starting to be like known about him. Like,
Yes.
so of course we saddled Grant with this.
Yes.
He's the guy for it. I also, I love as a result of continuing to, because Adam and Jamie have always been goofy, but they're goofy in different ways. Like Adam is more animated and like that, whereas like Jamie is very deadpan. So when he does say something ridiculous, it really lands. But I love how, especially with the addition of Grant, it has almost like solidified Jamie's position as like the den dad.
Yes.
Like he comes around and is like, what are you kids doing? Are you still sciencing in here? Like it's really, I think they even call him like the adult in the room at one point.
And now there's more people making fun of Jamie to where it's also like everybody versus the man. you know, there's that vibe because Grant's known Jamie for a long time too, so he can, he's the originator of the Jamie mustache joke, as we've talked about before, which comes back in this episode, and we'll get there.
Yes,
but
it does.
So, and now everybody is wailing on Jamie, so you're right, it has fully set up that like Jamie is the serious one, he's the boss, and everybody else is fighting back against the man, and it's awesome.
But what a perfect dynamic, because Jamie is unflappable.
Yeah.
Like there's no getting to him. Or if it is possible, he certainly doesn't show it, So he's just like the perfect target for this. It's just like making fun of a black hole, It's like, well, I mean, good luck, but like I don't think you're gonna do a lot of damage.
And yeah, he doesn't seem bothered by it one bit. He doesn't even seem to acknowledge it. It's not like he's like, "Oh, I'm in on the joke," and it's not like he's like, "Oh no, it's making me mad." He's just kind of like
occasionally seems lightly amused.
Yeah,
but more just like, I have work to do.
But he's constantly playing into it. That's the really smart thing about Jamie, is I think he understands how he comes across better than anybody, and is fully willing to lean into it or play against it when it helps. Like Jamie, that's the thing about Jamie on Mythbusters, is I think like people always talk about Adam and him as such a character, and obviously he is, and he is like, as a presenter, as a character on television, Adam is the one to watch. But I think that sometimes distracts from the fact that Jamie knows what he is doing as a TV presenter. It's not just like Jamie's getting pulled along into all this, which is the way it feels on the show. No, Jamie knows and is being very calculating about what he says, what he does, how he furthers that character. It's very smart. It is very, very smart. It's awesome.
Makes for great television.
It really does. What also made for great television was the second test, where the raft flips like a coin and Buster falls out. And what I love the most is that Robert Lee describes it as a premature ejection.
They love skirting the line with that joke in particular.
Yes, and making Robert be the one to do it.
Yes. And like
every time.
I remember specifically, premature ejection is the exact phrasing that was used prior. Like it was several episodes ago. Yeah, we had a clip about it.
Yeah, and it's perfect 12-year-old humor too. It is like,
right. That's why we're the hosts of this show.
There you go. Because the age I was
in our 12-year-old mind.
When I saw this as a kid, that was the funniest stuff you could possibly imagine, and it still kind of works. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely. If I can't have poop jokes, premature ejection. It's hard to even remember. My brain just wants to autofill the rest. And I'm like having to fight it and be like, no, ejection.
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 This is not the Civil War myth, which would have.
This is.
We're not
nice
back then.
Nice callback, Mr. Bumgardner.
Thank you.
Very good. Oh, you mean the cum shot myth?
Yeah. Yes.
Which I can say.
Because that is the official title.
That's the official title. That's what they wrote on the board.
On the blueprint. I would love to see that.
Today we're testing the cum shot. You had another good one after the fact where you texted me like a day after we recorded. It was like, how did we miss out on this one?
That was Nutbusters, I think.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to see today on Mythbusters. Ski. Make Robert Lee say that.
Skeet. All right, Robert, that was real clean. I think we got it.
That was really good. You earned your check today, buddy. Thanks.
Do you want me to do it a different way just in case? No.
We got it.
No, one and done, baby.
One take wonder.
That's it.
I did feel like the testing on this myth in particular, all the way through, all the way to the end, and even into kind of the bonus myth, is some of the hairiest stuff we've seen so far. They spend a lot of time talking about, they're lifting these rafts up on a helicopter to 2,000 feet for the drop, and when you do that, it's very hard from the ground to figure out where that's going to go. And it's holding up whatever 165-pound, 170-pound Buster at the same time that if it drops on your head, you're gone. and later an entire half of a fuselage of a plane. But it's just floating in the air above them, and they're scattering like ants to try to get out from under it. And I was like, oh my God, this may be, in terms of like potential danger, one of the most dangerous things we've seen, because it's not an explosion where you kind of know where it's going to happen, and it's dangerous, and you don't want it to happen in an uncontrolled way, but it's over there, and so stay away. And this one, like Jamie and the cameraman are running and hopping over fences to get away from this thing that's floating above their heads. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I also, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I guess if you have to have anything fall on you, an inflatable raft is not the worst. But Buster's heavy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that's not, I wouldn't want to get hit with a terminal velocity Buster.
No, that'd be terrible.
Although, it could be a religious experience.
Yes. Yeah. What a way to go.
I looked up, and lo from on high, my Lord, strikes me in the face.
Riding on a life raft, descending from the heavens, our Lord and Savior Buster.
There he is.
They finally, I mean, obviously,
Blessed be his bust.
the hardest part about this whole thing is actually controlling the raft. The raft wants to flip, it wants to spin, it wants to do all sorts of things because it's not made to do this. And it actually reminded me of the cardboard parachute episode quite a bit. And that's where I was talking about earlier, the like things that you've seen along the way that sort of build is they don't go into in this how hard it would be to hold on to this thing.
Right.
But I remember from cardboard parachute, like it would be so difficult to hold on for the length of time that you would need to if you flipped upside down or if whatever happened. It's just completely improbable. In order to make it work, they have to actually rig it like a parachute and just drop Buster with him kind of descending from it to even get close to seeing if it's enough to slow your descent and not kill you.
And Cliff, this is a big aspect of this episode that I enjoy, is that in experimenting, they noticed something that did work. And then they're like, you know what would be super interesting and a cool visual is if we just tried that.
Yeah.
You know, like for all intents and purposes, the myth is tabled at this point, you know? Because even after they do the full-on parachute rigging, they're still like, it's basically busted.
Well, it still breaks his legs off.
Yes, true. But still, I like that they see it and they're like, let's give this every fighting chance.
Yeah.
And see if we can make it work.
And well, to that point, the actual escape slide is shocking at how well it works.
Yes.
I mean, the thing floats down like a feather or like a leaf. It looks like a leaf in the wind, like constantly trying to flip, but somehow it doesn't. And it goes all the way down, slows down enough. He lands, no broken bones, none of the shock meters and stuff that they put on him was triggered. It was like, it works perfectly.
Yeah.
But I can't think of many things that would be more terrifying and less likely to actually work in the world than this. I mean, it's
just for like 30 seconds of absolute hell.
Yeah. I mean, Adam at one point is like, I might even give that a try. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. This looks completely
I don't know.
awful.
Adam might.
Go overhead. I fart
Come on,
you
Adam.
as he comes across again.
Yeah. Balls in your court, savage.
They end up saying that this is just so impractical because even trying to get the escape slide out of the plane inflated and to get on it, it's never going to work. And the odds, yes, it can kind of work as a parachute. There is a plausible aspect to it, but it is so impractical that there's certainly not, kind of going back to what we talked about last week with splitting an arrow, you couldn't do this on purpose. If you did this and you got lucky and it happened, but it's not actually a thing that can happen. I did think it was weird that they talk about like you couldn't get out of the plane and it would be ripped out of your hands and all that, and they never tested that.
Nope.
But I kind of, again, based on what we've seen on the show, I don't know that you need to. So I was willing to give them that one, but
it's busted.
It's definitely busted.
But super cool to watch.
Well, that was a lot of fun. You know, in spite of what we thought, actually, the life raft and the slide significantly reduced Buster's velocity.
But you're not going to get that door open that's got the slide in it. The second you inflate it, it's going to rip right off the plane. Every aspect of it, it's busted.
Okay, it's busted.
Myth 2, which actually doesn't have a name in this episode. This is our little bonus myth that was tacked on.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to move it up here. It happened at the end of the show, but it makes more sense to put it right here in the episode. So this is another dropping how do you survive from an airplane myth that comes from an actual story about a flight attendant who survived the longest reported fall, the highest reported fall in history without a parachute. She was on a plane when a bomb went off, and actually,
they really skip right over that part.
Well, and we're going to get there, but she was later found alive, still strapped into her seat. And they want to test essentially what are the parameters that could have made that happen. And so they're going to actually take up a fuselage and drop it from the back of the drop it from the helicopter, just like they did in the last myth, and
as one does,
see what happens. But
and inspire Christopher Nolan to make the beginning of The Dark Knight Rises.
It did look like that, didn't it? I thought about that, and I also thought about like it kind of looked like a spaceship on re-entry when they drop it and it's tumbling all the way out of it looked crazy. It was an awesome visual. But the real thrill to this one for me, because it's not much in the way of a myth, and we also know from the beginning this did really happen, but it sent me down a research hole about the real story, and I think the real story is far more fascinating than even the test, as fun as it was. So
Hit me with that research cliff.
This was true. It was a flight attendant named Vesna Volovic, who was a Serbian flight attendant and survived a fall of 6.31 miles, or 33,333 feet. She was the sole survivor of JAT Flight 367 after an explosion attributed to a briefcase bomb tore through the baggage compartment. This was in January of 1972, and the plane ultimately crashed near what's now part of the Czech Republic. She did, in fact, survive, though she was badly injured. She spent days in a coma, was hospitalized for several months afterwards. She had a fractured skull, 3 broken vertebrae, broken legs, broken ribs, a fractured pelvis. I mean, just unbelievable. She did actually make an almost complete recovery. She walked with a limp, but she was able to walk again.
I'm sorry. If you walk away at all, limp, fine.
I'll take a limp and a story like that.
I survived a plane crash. Yeah, I got a bit of a limp. Fine, easy. Give me.
But one of the most interesting things I found is that she was actually fired from JAT Airways. She continued to work for the airline in a different capacity following the incident, but she was fired in the early 1990s after taking part in anti-government protests during the breakup of Yugoslavia. She avoided arrest by the government because they were concerned about the negative publicity that would bring, because she was a known figure.
You would think.
But to her credit, she continued her work as a pro-democracy activist for years, and she passed away in 2016. So, pretty remarkable person, and not just because she survived the longest fall in history.
Although it does feel like at some point there was an intervention where it's like, no, wait, you're cool. You get to survive. You get to walk away from this one.
Exactly.
I have to have some cool people surviving these things from time to time.
Yeah. I mean, what if you're going to have somebody survive something like this? What a cool person to do it. So that is the actual basis for this myth. And the testing is not really any more complicated than what we've already said. They take it up and drop this thing. And again, we say it all the time.
Great.
The big drops are just so satisfying and so crazy. They talk about when it hits, the thud that they all feel throughout the ground in the surrounding area is just so powerful. And it, unsurprisingly, the whole thing is destroyed. Buster is a mess yet again. But they do talk about that it really is all in the details with this, that it's a 1 in a million kind of thing. But this the actual fuselage falling, its air resistance slowed it down a lot more than if you were falling unassisted. It kind of crumpled around, which could have, potentially, if you fell just the right way, just the right fashion, could have potentially, mitigated some harm. And they know that it actually worked, which is crazy. So they don't really have a result, but they do, they're more exploring the idea at this point.
I think they just wanted to show it.
Yeah.
And they're not wrong.
They're not
wrong because they're really not testing for much of anything. They're really not taking the results and turning them into something. I think they just wanted the visual, and I don't think they're wrong. Seeing a gigantic fuselage get crushed like a Coke can by plopping on the ground is, I'm going to say it right now, I think a big plop is better for me than a big explosion.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you.
Controversial, I know.
It's some of the most satisfying stuff we see on the show. Interestingly, I was able to find some other research into all of the reasons they believe the actual flight attendant survived in the fall, which they also don't go into the episode. So as they say in the episode, it's a total fluke. And my God, is that true? Air safety investigators attributed her survival to being trapped by a food trolley in the fuselage as it broke away from the aircraft. And when the cabin depressurized, the passengers and other flight crew were blown out of the aircraft and fell to their death, but she was trapped, so she couldn't get out of the fuselage and fell with it, which they believe cushioned the impact somewhat. It also fell in a heavily wooded and snow-covered area, which cushioned the impact. But here's the insane thing that makes you believe this person was literally born to survive this. Her physicians concluded that she had a history of low blood pressure, and that actually caused her to pass out very quickly after the cabin depressurized, and it kept her heart from bursting on impact. So she was literally biologically designed in that moment for a best case scenario to survive this fall. It's not even a 1 in a million at that point. It's 1 in a gajillion.
There are two extraordinary parts about that. A, that she was seemingly designed for this task. But also, I am shocked to learn that it is not bad to be trapped behind a trolley in an airplane 100% of the time.
Right?
It's still 99.999% of the time. You know what I'm talking about. You're trapped back there. You can't get around them.
Yeah, who would have thought that being inconvenienced on an airplane could actually help you out?
When I look at this wreckage and I think about the stewardess who survived in the tail of the plane, I think, well, I look at the cargo hold, which is upside down, and the top of this wreckage, and it actually looks not that distended. If Buster had fallen correctly, if he had fallen upright, he might have actually survived.
Myth 3, exploding hair cream. Can hair cream make an airplane explode? Very aircraft heavy myth. That didn't actually occur to me at first. But this whole episode is very airline driven. So this comes from a story in the 1950s where the Canadian Air Force kept having freak accidents with fighter planes where pilots were supposedly decapitated by explosions in midair. And the idea was that the hair cream that they had on was extremely flammable, and that combined with the, oxygen-rich sealed environment of a cockpit and a short in the communications or electrical systems led to an actual explosion and was blowing these planes up, which sounds implausible. The most implausible thing to me is that Canada has an air force.
And that the plane is called a
Starfighter.
A Starfighter. Thank you. That was
like George Lucas up in Canada. What's going on up there?
He's like, now what you really need for your military. If you can't have a TIE fighter. I'm not going to keep ragging on George. I know you're waiting. You're giving me the runway.
I'm like, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
Like, go on, land the plane.
Let's make friends with George Lucas today. That'll be great. Canadians, George Lucas,
with everyone.
The Dutch. We're just forming all of our enemies here on Try This at Home.
The Australians, anybody with half a brain. Let's see, who else have I pissed off?
Scientists,
Scientists,
slingshotters, professional
they're
slingshotters.
Now that one I don't mind. They picked a fight with me first by being professional slingshotters. That's on them.
You're just going to be doing this
I make
podcast.
no apologies for that one.
One day you're going to be doing this podcast. And just they're going to get you. They're going to find you.
And then I'm going to survive because it's a deeply ineffective form of warfare.
You'll definitely
Come
survive
at me, slingshotters.
when the Dutch spies come for you because you just hear the wood shoes trying to sneak up behind you, and you just run away.
Well, now they're coming for you too. So.
I'll keep an ear out. It'll be fine.
Click, clock. I'm in a dark alley. I'm just hearing like the clip clop from somewhere. Show yourself. I know you Dutch bastards are out there.
Stones from slingshots start flying into the alley.
Oh, they team up.
They team up.
That's how they get
Those
me.
Dutch
A Dutch
slingshotting assassin
takes
squads.
my ass to the grass and underneath.
And there's just a Canadian with hair gel just waiting in the wings.
Yeah, yes, to just pop my head, just for funsies afterwards.
It is. Can we talk about how unnerving it is that they immediately show that hair cream is intensely flammable and leave it at that?
Yeah.
They're just like, yes, hair cream will cause your head to catch on fire, and that's not even the most interesting thing we're going to talk about today.
It's so uninteresting to us that we're actually not even going to pause for it.
Yeah.
We're just gonna zoom right on by.
We're going to show it and move straight on.
And they did. But these ones freak me out
Yeah.
because like I realize like especially when you're talking about oxygen like causing explosions, I'm like, I guess I don't know that much about. I guess I took exactly one chemistry course and didn't do particularly well in it. I think I really fought for a C. So I suppose it's just one of those things that like Grant immediately has a theory for like where this spark could have come from, and it sounds like the ready availability of a lot of things that can blow you up is just like very disconcerting to me.
Well, you start to look around and realize how many pressure vessels are around you all the time. Fire extinguishers, hot water heaters, which that becomes a big thing on the show later on.
Okay, so I had I was camping yesterday, and the fire just exploded at one point, and I was like, what? And then one of the guys was like, oh yeah, since it rained earlier, like it was probably a water pocket that got like caught in it. And
oh, good.
Just, and like explained all of them, like, that's not what, fires can just explode randomly. It's like, if it helps. I've never seen it happen until tonight. I'm like, I don't think that does help, actually. Now I think I'm bad luck around fire is what I now think. That's not good.
Yeah, your knowledge or lack thereof of this happening is not going to save my life. Like the fact that you've never been around this before doesn't mean that I'm not about to die.
That doesn't unburn my foot, Bob. Thanks.
And obviously with this one, I mean, we're talking about like fighter planes, so it's not super practical, but this kind of thing we've seen a lot on Mythbusters in ways that are very practical and applied to daily life of pressure vessels and explosions and shorts in common things, and it's always scary. It's always one of the most scary things that we see on the show. And in this case, I mean, this one's even bigger and more scary because it's a freaking fighter plane that's going to fall out of the sky. And it happens pretty easily. Like, they don't have to work that hard to make this happen.
No. The hardest thing, I think, is like converting what isn't a fighter jet into the conditions of a fighter jet. Like, that seems to be where most of the issue is coming in. Which, by the way, brings us to... Okay. So they were like, you may recognize this from Shark Week. And then I was just like, no, I don't recognize any of it. Is that an episode that I wasn't on?
No.
Or Oh boy.
It is an episode that we have missed here on the podcast. So I did some research. It's not our fault. What they showed, and I remember
keep telling yourself that, buddy.
I have to.
You think that's what they're gonna
It's
believe?
the only way I sleep. It's the only way I sleep. What they had made was something they called the sharammer, which I remember, which is from a myth that they tested on a Jaws special about Jaws ramming a boat. And I remember that myth and that episode very clearly, but it was not in our run. It was not in the listing of episodes that we have. It is not on HBO Max. So
So then wait, but that brings up a question. Is it an actual episode of the show, or are Jamie and Adam like guest starring on a generalized? Because you know how like Shark Week had like episodes of shows,
right?
But then they also had a lot of like other programming interstitched with like hosts and stuff like that.
So it was a Mythbusters special, but that did air as part of Shark Week, which is partially why it is difficult to find now. It aired in July of 2005, so right before this episode that we're talking about today. And apparently, from what I can find, it was not put on any DVD set or collection, and it is still really hard to find. I remember seeing that episode. I remember it airing in rotation back in the day, but to the best of my ability, I couldn't even find it on streaming now. So it is somewhat of a lost episode of Mythbusters. So if anyone has it or knows where we could watch it, we would love to do a special episode looking back at the very first Shark Week episode, because they do more down the road. They would do Shark Week episodes all the time, and I think we'll have some of those coming up.
Will those ones appear on? Did you find that out?
I think a lot of those are easier to find. I don't know why this one.
A lost episode.
Yeah, this one seems to be a lost episode.
We have to get this. We have to get a hold of this.
Yeah.
If this isn't a task scientifically engineered for this podcast,
right.
I don't know what is.
I know. So listeners,
will I help? Morally. Morally, I will. But no, I'm not a computer guy.
Oh, there we go. Another one for the shirt.
I got one in. Yeah, I got one in this episode.
But listeners, help us out. If you know where we can find this episode, and those listeners include people who worked on the show. So if you know where we can find this episode, we would love to see it and talk about it here on the show, because it feels like we're missing something. And I have fond memories of the sharammer myth that they did, and I would love to see it again. But in this case, we only get to see it when they completely transform it into a Canadian fighter plane, which is not a sentence I expected to be saying, but there we go.
No, but you should have.
Yeah.
The fact that we're not able to like Mad Libs this together at this point is kind of shocking to me, because of course they're going to convert a sharammer into a Canadian starfighter. Why would they not?
It's why we love this show.
To do that. Exactly. I loved Carrie's toupee.
Yes.
That was magnificent.
Makes a toupee from scratch. That was amazing.
Yes. And the first time it does at least like catch on fire.
Yeah.
Like his face is melted.
They end up, so they have
it's pretty sizable.
They have two different ways that they're going to try to cause the fire. One is with an electrical spark in the comm system of the helmet that they're using, and the other is a model rocket igniter. So they know it will actually ignite and produce enough heat to light something. On the first test, the electrical spark didn't work, but the model rocket igniter did, and lit the oxygen that was in the cockpit, and sets the dummy that they've made, the atom dummy that they've made, on fire. Like right off the bat, there seems to be something to this. And then it's interesting that they try to put it out, but they had a CO2 fire extinguisher rigged inside the cockpit to put the fires out. When they do that, it actually doubles the pressure inside the cockpit, and there's a moment of, is this whole thing going to explode?
Yeah. Or they're all like, I cannot be serious enough about this. Stay behind the barriers.
Well, which almost didn't happen. Can we talk about that? That they're talking about, should we be behind the barrier? Should we not? Make sure you don't walk around the back of this thing. Adam goes to walk around the back of it, and it explodes.
Seconds later. Like, I cannot be clear enough about this. He was behind it took 3 steps towards the side and the end blows out. Also, I kind of wonder if him smacking it had anything to do with that.
Didn't help. I can't imagine it helped.
It couldn't have helped. I'm not saying he caused it by any stretch of the imagination, but it is very odd that he just smacks his hand down like a used car salesman and then the entire back blows out.
Insane.
And he just looks back like, huh.
Again, it's one of those moments. Everything in this episode felt so scary. Like it felt like it was on a knife's edge. The whole episode of like, oh my God.
Even Jamie, when they're dropping the fuselage, was like, if I gotta run, I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
And I love that. What a great Jamieism.
He even says, I've learned making this show. If I feel like running, I'm gonna run. It's great.
I would not be as excited as they are to be this close to fire. It is so cool to be on the other side of a screen. I like that's my level. That's my level of danger. That's so perfect.
See, that might be a difference between us. I would want to be there. I totally want to be there. Like
of course you would.
The thrill of the insanity of this and the explosions and
I'll watch Plops. I'll watch Plops live, but there's something about explosions. I'm like, I don't like that actually. Actually, that makes me nervous. Oh wow, my heart's beating super fast now.
I don't like the phrase.
Oh no,
watching
my
plops.
Evolution's kicking in.
I don't like the phrase "watching plops." That feels like a. It feels like a category on a website we can't talk about. I'm not a fan of that.
Because it is. Like I was saying, I'll watch Plops all day long, but no. Watching Plops. That's what we do here. Welcome back to the Watching Plops podcast. I'm Plops.
We were going to rank
Cliff.
Today we rank our favorite plops.
But you're Cliff Plopgardner. It's a delayed joke. Eventually, first they're like, "Why is he not also Plops?" And it's like, "Well, because it's in his last name."
I already
So
have
are you
Bum in
Plop
my name.
Stewart?
Do I really
no,
have
I'm
to?
just Plops. What? Yeah, Plop. Well, surely you didn't want to be Bum Plop. Like, I did you a favor. I absolutely did you a favor.
I like that you're drawing a line of like, that's too on the nose. I have to be
It can't be
elevated
Bum
in my
Plops.
comedic approach here.
We're already implying poop, my friend. We cannot absolutely draw a line to the source. Come on. Directly to the poop chute itself? I don't think so. We're smarter. We're cleverer than that, Cliff.
When it came to the result of this myth, I will say I was actually a little bit confused. I don't know that I fully buy their ultimate verdict. And I'm jumping ahead slightly before we even talk about the final test, but it all plays in because they end up saying that this is busted. And yet, at every turn, they find plausibility in every element that they are testing all throughout. And they even say that there are real accounts that they have found that attribute various hair products and other things to causing flammable incidents in planes and in cockpits and leading to similar results. They end up saying that they can't replicate the exact parameters. But what are the exact parameters beyond hair product ignites, causes boom? Like,
I don't know.
I
do actually remember this because I kind of thought that this was being really nitpicky. It had to decapitate them.
Okay.
That's what they said. That's where they landed on. They're like, this did not give us like full decapitation or like blow up. So it doesn't count. And it's like,
Okay, but here's my thing on that. Two things. One is we get in this exact conversation a lot of what is blowing up. And if you saw that happen, you would totally say, "Oh, the plane blew up." It's colloquially, I think it's blown up. But two, if this happened in the air and the plane crashed, I can't think of a not grim way to say this, but like, how do you know?
How would you know? Yes.
Where the decapitation stems from exactly? And if someone's head has been on fire long enough for a plane to crash, I don't know. You're right. That's super nitpicky to me.
We're really splitting hairs now. However, I feel like this one. I swear we'll stop saying this eventually. This one could use some Heather Joseph Witham action.
Oh, we're never going to stop saying it. I could always use.
But like, this is one where I really would have appreciated someone being like, this comes from these series of real events where like a fire was started and then it, grew out of proportions and became that people's heads were popping.
Right.
And that part is not true.
Right.
But like, is it fairly easy to catch someone's entire head on fire?
Yeah.
Due to like the introduction of this hair product? Yeah. Actually,
And
yeah,
maybe
it kind of is.
And maybe that's on me for slightly misunderstanding, but I definitely remembered them talking about the decapitation. But to me, the headline, no pun intended, on this one,
a little pun intended,
a little bit intended. I'm not gonna lie. Was just hair product making a plane blow up, right?
Yep.
Like that to me was the top line, and that totally seems plausible. So I was quite confused by the time we got to the end. And I guess you're right. It's the decapitation thing, but
it has to make the head pop, not the
just
plane.
didn't lean into that enough, I guess.
No. I would agree with that, but it was a very satisfying explosion, particularly because the high speed caught a moment where the glass was like bubbling.
Yes.
But like I was about to say seconds. We're dealing with shorter periods of time than even that.
Yeah,
like,
fractions of a second.
It just before it blows. That was phenomenal.
That was awesome.
That reminded me of like in the Matrix when the helicopter crashes into the building and like the glass ripples right before it breaks.
Yeah.
It was just that was fantastic. So like we got some really cool visuals. I also have a theory that Grant didn't want to call this one busted.
Really?
Because if you watch, Carrie is like, it's busted, and Grant is visibly taken aback before it cuts to a closer shot of Carrie explaining her reasoning, which is the story is spread specifically as like a decapitation. That's not happening here, busted. And then Adam agrees with that caveat, and then Grant's just like, yeah, busted. But it
New guy
made
here.
Me think, it made me think. It made me really seriously wonder how scripted those little busted conversations are.
Yeah, the blueprint room stuff.
Right. Like if there is a serious possibility, because it hasn't happened yet. I think it does eventually in the show where there are disagreements between Mythbusters on whether or not it should be. We've had a little back and forth.
Yeah.
But like a full, like, no. Like, I don't agree that that's what this shows. We'll see.
Yeah, I think
Could be
I'm on,
interesting.
and I think if that is the case, I think I'm on Grant's side in this one. I rarely disagree with a verdict as strongly as I do here, and I totally get it's about the confines of the myth, and we've been through that before. But to me, the decapitation thing either wasn't enough a part of the story, or it's really just that's almost a detail too far to dig into at this point when everything else is so plausible.
It feels like losing a game on a technicality.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's just like, come on. That was one bad call, and it like, that can't be the thing that sinks the whole ship.
I was going to say, we'll have to see if this one comes back, but we won't have to wait super long to find that out, because our episode next week is another Mythbusters Revisited.
Already,
we get 2 this season. And the thumbnail of the episode, did you notice what it was?
No.
Plywood parachute.
Cliff.
Talk about some plops.
Cliff.
We're getting some good plops.
Cliff, I'm about to be watching some plops, my guy. You have no idea the amount of plops I'm about to what with me eyeballs.
We're getting close to the end of the season. We've got only a couple of full episodes left, so we appreciate you guys listening and watching along with us. Go out and find that episode wherever you watch. We're checking out on HBO Max, but there are a couple of places. And if you can find the Jaws special, the very first Jaws special, please reach out and let us know. We would love to cover that at some point in the show. And while you're out there looking around, be sure to drop us a rating and review. We say this every week, but genuinely, it really helps the show. We are continuing to try to grow the show as we head into a new season pretty soon. But we still have a little bit more of this season left for you guys. And until then, thanks for listening.
Bye-bye, puppies.
Try This at Home is produced by Slugline Media. The show is written, hosted, edited, and shot onto the internet by Cliff Bumgardner and Harrison Stewart. Our music is by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. You can follow the show on Instagram at TryThisPod or email us, trythisathomepod@gmail.com.